get money from the bank when they don't want to lend it to me. I can guarantee 8 out of 10 of you listening to today have had that same problem. You go to the bank, and that's the place you go to get money, and they just don't want to give it out. And you wonder and scratch your head thinking, are these folks in the business to lend money, or that's what I thought that they were here for, but they don't want to give it out. So I'm going to share a story here with a client of ours. A couple things I always like to remind people of. One is we talk about our clients in small business. We're typically talking about companies that have anywhere from 1 to 25 employees. And then we coach, and one of the key focuses for our coaching practice is our 7 keys to success that we coach all of our business owners on. And if you go to our website at MaximumVP.com and go on the MVP playbook, you'll see a nice little visual of the 7 keys that you can go look at online, or you can download and print it off to have those 7 keys in front of you. But the 2 today that are very important, as you can imagine, we're talking about with bankers here. One is the profit plan, the other one being cash forecast. So we had a client here who was looking to get some of his business refinanced to consolidate some debts, to fund an acquisition, and also get the books cleaned up after they transferred some ownership. So he had some stuff kind of going on, and as people often refer to it, there's a little bit of hair on this one, right, in terms of having a story to kind of tell, but he had a good story to tell.
He did have a good story, and he told it well, but, well, go on.
That's okay. So the company had originally been financed by a sizable regional bank. And what happened was they'd kind of fallen out of love with their client due to some hard times that the client had fallen upon. Now, they never missed out on any payments or anything like that, but they had a couple times where they had to take a line of credit and term it out and become a term note. Again, I guarantee a lot of folks listening today have been through that same process before. And so what happened was, though, again, they kind of fallen out of love, and they got moved into what's very difficult to find but exists at every bank. It's called the workout group. Workout, not like working out your muscles, right? Or working out your problems. It's to work your way out of the bank, right?
Yeah, they have so many names for that, and they always whisper it, or some bankers don't even admit that they have one. Yeah. In other words, a bank never makes a bad loan.
Right. Well, they have one. There's another name we might make, like a specialty asset division, or there's a lot of creative names. But if you ask any banker about the workout group, right, they'll know what that's called. But yeah, if you
could ask for the mortgage loan department, and everyone could direct you accordingly.
Right.
The workout group, you're going to get strange looks.
But let's just say that when this happens, it's not usually a good feeling. It's like all of a sudden, hey, Jack's been my banker for the last 8 years. He said, hey, well, it's been great knowing you, Adam, but I'm gonna now introduce you to George, who's gonna be taking care of you when it comes to banking questions. And thinking, who the heck is George? He'll take good care of you, kind of thing, right? So, needless to say that this bank was not like in the greatest of love with our client. That's okay. So what happened was, this new guy in the workout group had called him in and said, I'd like to just get caught up with you. And so we helped our client prepare for that discussion, and he was able to present his story very, very well to this guy, to the point where he hasn't heard from the guy now in 18 months because he presented himself so well, and he gave him no reason to worry that whatever money was owed to this bank was going to get taken care of. But he asked him as part of that discussion if they had any desire to loan additional money for some of the growth he was going through, and they didn't. But again, got him off his back for a bit. So he'd gone to another regional bank that we'd introduced him to, and they were able to help him with some of what was going on, but their particular bank couldn't help with certain parts of it. So he had a community bank. Now, community banks are those folks who are usually maybe one location, maybe they have 2, but they're really part of the community, and they were touting themselves in terms of how they really like to lend to the story, not just to the numbers, right? Because we go to these big banks, they all have their formulas and their spreadsheets and everything else that they do.
How many times have we heard these stories from bankers?
So,
God love them. But,
well, this one was very convincing, and our client talked to us about it. We said, hey, if they're touting at that, I said, there's one way to find out. Let's try to test them out and see how they do, right? So, long story short, they had about a 6-month process here, kind of getting jerked around at times. And at the end of the day, it didn't work out. They weren't able to do what they told them that they could do. They liked the story, it was really good, but they came back to the numbers again. Some of the numbers that they had, or some form that just didn't work. So the other regional bank that we'd introduced them to, even though they couldn't help with some of the situations, this banker is very good because he is somebody we've known for probably 5 years now, and he he never jerks people around. If he can't help, he tells you right away. If he can, he tells you right away too. But he's always trying to find ways to help out. So I went back to him and said, hey, here's the issue we have with this community bank. He said, look, I have another guy who I used to work with is at a different bank. I think I was talking to him about you. I think he can probably help you.
But a banker who helps clients first by referring to another bank if necessary.
It's amazing,
isn't he? He's been our.
It took us about 10 years to find him.
For a good 5 years, and we're never going to let go of him.
That's right.
Yeah.
So he introduced him to again, a former colleague of his who was now at a different bank that liked this story. And this guy was working our client through, and about 10 days before the deal closed, he left. Now, and he didn't go to another bank, he went to an entirely new industry. But he made sure to hand off our client to another banker who was touting that he could help push this thing through. And unfortunately, it reinforced for us that the banker is more important than the bank. So needless to say, this guy was a little bit disappointing, and he wasn't able to kind of do what needed to be done. But at this point, our client was doing a great job of pushing this thing to make sure it was going to happen. So as he was pushing, he was able to get another banker at this bank involved. And he got our regional guy on the phone too. He just had a phone call a few weeks back with these guys to get them all together. And he didn't quite get the deal he was looking for, but it was pretty close, and certainly much better than where he was today. But it was an 18-month process to go through and push all the stuff, and having very, very good numbers, knowing what his cash forecast is going to be, knowing his profit plan to build a forecast out. Here's what I need the money for. Here's how it's going to be used. Here's why it's better for me. And be able to respond to these guys and talk their language is very, very key.
We teach our small business owners how to do that. Now they're empowered. Now they have to pull various bankers together to educate them in terms of how they can be helped. I mean, it shouldn't work out that way. It shouldn't be that way, but that's unfortunately how it is. So if you're armed with good numbers, you know how to talk to bankers, you go in there with confidence, and basically you find you're going to be successful more often than you otherwise would. It just